I wanted to go in May because it's half the price, but it's like wait until June. Double price. The airfare. Yeah, the flight. No, the hotels are still cheap. The hotels are cheap, but the airfare is double the price. No, that's the only flight that's direct from. Also, it goes to Rome. So I would have to. Yeah, it just changed the name. Yeah, Iberia. Iberia is a good one too. Delta just happens to be the out of all of them. I looked at Iberia, Air, they're all like nice. But the Delta I've flown before, this is pretty nice. Iberia. Very yeah. Yeah.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Hey, how's it going, Mario? Mario, the doctor. Can you hear us?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you great now.
William. Yeah, there. So wait. I don't know if it is, but I'll forward it to you because Kate sent it to. Well, I wanted to send you a copy of the agenda here, but
Perfect.
I'm not
Do you
finding
want
your email.
to drop it in the chat maybe, or I can just I can send you an email and you can respond, or I can.
Yeah, could you send? Do you have my email?
Oh, here. Let's see. How do I spell? It's
ALEKS
K
dot
Bernhard
BERNHARD at Gmail.
Perfect. Ecology.
Just broadcasted that to the world.
Yeah. On YouTube in perpetuum.
Yeah. Well, I think it's in other places as well. Yeah, I mean, it should also be on the website.
Oh, perfect. I'll check. Yeah.
Okay. There you go. Hey, Kate. All right, so let me send it to.
Oh yeah, it's here. April 19th. Perfect.
You found it? Okay, it is on the website.
Yeah. As a PDF. Perfect.
Yeah, She doesn't usually always send it to us. She just posts it on the website. So we get to have a meeting in the daylight. Everybody remember to make sure your microphones are on. I don't think yours is on.
Present.
Press the button there. Yeah, there you go.
Oh.
Whoa, loud and clear. Yeah, now it's working. Let's see.
In the mail you just sent, there is actually a minute to the meeting March 15th.
There was one from March 15th that I had sent to her, but also.
Previous meeting, we receive a separate email with all the meeting from December, January and February.
Right. So let's see. Is everybody ready to get started?
Ready?
Kate, are you good? Okay. No problem. Let's see. All right, so calling to order Ecology, Village of Biscayne Park Ecology Board meeting, April 19th, 2022. 1 second. Okay, so roll call, Kate Davis,
Present.
Alexander Madeja,
Present.
Daniela Carbonera,
Present.
William Aitken.
Present.
All right. Excellent. So I did look at the minutes. I don't know if everybody had a chance to look at them, but we have a bunch that we need to approve from like a long time ago. Is everybody okay with just taking a vote and approving those minutes as they are? Yes. Okay. So I'd like to somebody bring that up for a vote to approve the previous board meetings. All in favor?
Aye.
In favor.
Aye.
All right. Second that, and aye. Excellent.
And can you provide me the dates of the ones that we're approving?
So we're approving. Let's see. So we have March, December, January, February, and March. I think those are the ones that we hadn't approved yet. Okay, so one thing, let's see, we can go to the new business. So the first item I had added on there was the possible renaming of the board. Currently, it was named when the board was first created many years ago, a little more focused on primarily ecology and conservation, which of course is still what we're focused on. But given the the current state of things in the space, I felt it would be useful to consider the possibility of changing the name to something which not only I think would reflect more of what we're actually doing, which is always under the umbrella of ecology, but also the fact that at some point in time the village will be probably going to be applying for grants and things like that, and having a board that has a name that reflects the grants that we're going to be trying to get in this space, which are usually related to sustainability and resilience. I thought it would be important to consider changing the name of the board to the Sustainability and Resilience Advisory Board. It's something that I thought about from the very beginning when I first joined the board. And I think it's something that is a little bit more up to date in terms of the name of the board. Most of the boards in this space around the country are named something in that, they call out sustainability. For us in Miami, resilience is
just as important because of our susceptibility to sea level rise. So I did want to add that in there as well. So it's something that I just wanted to bring up for discussion. It would be important that if we do come to an agreement on something today, that we did vote on it, because one of the other boards is actually changing their name. The art, I think it's the art board. They're changing it to another name. And so the commission had asked us to consider doing it together with them so that we are able to mitigate some of the legal costs in order to do that, because there are some legal costs involved in order to change the name. So I just wanted to kind of bring up a discussion and hear everybody's thoughts and see what everybody, thinks about the possibility of doing that. We can start with William, since you're virtual.
Oh, yeah, I think it's a great idea, actually, especially in the setting of maybe applying for sustainability or especially resiliency. I'm hearing a lot more. Yeah, I'm totally in favor. Would you guys want it to be ecology, sort of still in the title, or just a sustainability and resilience advisory? Because I think most of it, guys, is sort of environmental based or sort of, climate based, or, however you want to say it.
If I can, I would like to maintain ecology in the title.
Perfect. Yeah. I think that, ecology,
Okay.
sustainability, and resilience would be like a good flow.
Got it.
Give a wider vision and scope. I think sustainability resilience sounds more like orienting the purchasing department in certain direction only.
Agreed. Great. Alex, any thoughts?
No, I mean, this makes sense. I guess we're just sort of right sizing the title. It doesn't necessarily change the mission or the goals or what we're after. But ecology, like you said, has other meanings. It's a dated term for what we're trying to do. 10 years ago, it would be called the Green Committee or the Recycling Committee.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's no problem, but I do agree that maybe we keep that in its nature.
Yeah. Totally fine by me. Kate, thoughts?
Yeah, I don't really have any other comments. I mean, I think every other community has named their board like that's similar to what we're doing, sustainability and resiliency. So I think it's consistent with all the other villages and towns locally, and it kind of makes sense to be on the same board so that we're not have a different name and there be no confusion.
Yeah.
I'm ignorant. What is the name of the other board today in the Biscayne Park?
Well, the art board, I think that they're changing their name to something along the lines of cultural arts, or something to do with culture. It's actually a good title. It's a very good title what they're changing it to, because I think it kind of encompasses kind of a similar situation. They're doing more than just art. I mean, when you think of art, you think of the sculptures that are in the medians and things like that, but they're doing more than just that. So I think they're sort of expanding the title based off of the fact that they're doing things that are still within what they have been doing, but it's just the title reflects it better, sort of in the same case. And then you have the Planning and Zoning Board, you have Parks and Parkways, and Code Enforcement, and then us.
What is the meaning of resilience? Why we want that? Because 3 names for me put a little bit more confusion. I don't know if it's like you pump too much the title to be important, but resilience is.
Yeah, resilience is basically withstanding the effects of climate change that are going to happen, in terms of whether it's sea level rise, whether it's increased heat, whether it's increased frequency of storms. So it's a category that's very it's pretty much what's talked about the most in Miami, even more sometimes than sustainability, because sustainability is, like you said, it has something a little more to do with kind of energy efficiency and construction and things like that. So it's a different category. They're 2 different things. So it's definitely something that I think we should mention. I understand. I'm kind of thinking the same thing of having 3 things on there or not, but I do think if we're going to change it, we should, and we want to keep ecology in there. It is definitely, in my opinion, important to talk about sustainability and resilience because they're two different things and they're kind of somewhat mutually exclusive, and we're working on both of them. I mean, we're talking about flood mitigation, that's resilience. We're talking about energy efficiency, that's sustainability.
What is resilience? And give me an example, because for me, resilience, I'm a material engineer.
Mhm.
It's a property of the material and it's the resistance to change and things.
Right. Yeah. Resistance to change. That's it. Exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. So resilience, an example of resilience would be to build a seawall because you're resisting the rise of the ocean, which is going to happen no matter what. So that's one, or even here in the park, if you want to use an example in the park of, raising your home certain number of feet over base flood elevation, that's a resilience measure. That doesn't have to do with sustainability. It has to do with resisting and being resilient towards the changes that are coming. So it's definitely along the lines of some of the things that we're going to be working on and we have been working on. So I do think that it's important. I agree. It's a little bit of a longer title than probably should be, but it is all of the things that we're working on. So unless somebody can come up with a better idea I'm all ears for ideas in terms of making it shorter, but I'm also okay with it. Ecology, Sustainability, and Resilience Advisory Board, and kind of a mouthful, but it does.
Yeah. A little long.
Yeah. The reason that I was thinking the same thing, but the reason that I said sustainability and resilience is because to me, in my mind, that affects both of those affect ecology. They both have a direct effect on ecology, especially sustainability. Sustainability, there is a lot of overlap with ecology. If you look at what the description of our board is, it's very focused on elements that are talking about sustainability in terms of like energy efficiency and things like that. So I would be more for keeping sustainability over ecology than getting rid of resilience, because I do think, again, if you look at the grants the grants that are out there in Florida right now, they only talk about resilience. They don't talk about the ones that we have already applied for as a community. But sustainability is solar. That's, solar energy, that's sustainability. And I guess a little bit of resilience too, because of, extreme heat and things like that. There's a little bit of overlap. But if it were for me, I think the sustainability and resilience would be the way to go for that reason, because to me, ecology is part of it. And if you look at the description of what we do, that we can keep ecology in that description. If you look at the actual description of what the board does.
In the title is your business card, your presentation.
You're right. You're right.
I don't want to give up ecology. It's just
What about environmental sustainability and resilience?
seems a committee stopping everybody.
I like that idea. I don't know. I mean, I just don't know what we do on this board or as a community that's ecological, like any ecology that we do.
Right. It does bring, if we get down to the roots, science behind it. I know is the basis for a lot of our decisions.
Yeah.
A lot of, again, we're trying to resist. But we're not scientists.
Yeah.
We're not doing the research.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I get it. It's
Kate's the scientist here. She's the one that's the
Okay.
scientist.
but present
You're right.
context.
Environmental sustainability and resilience is the full concept.
The only thing is environmental sustainability. It's I don't know. I don't know if that really, because sustainability, because you're not really necessarily just sustaining the environment, you're sustaining people. So that's
Sustainability is not only related to energy. sustainability, almost in my world, in my concept, is even the print of producing or consuming something tomorrow.
Right.
Whatever you choose to use or consume or burn on things, you have to put today the full chain from the supply chain, the use chain.
Right.
So this is really covering the full sustainability.
It is.
So not only the impact installing something, but even producing that. So is
That's the reason why I thought sustainability and resilience would be the way to go, to make it somewhat shorter. And I think it's a good point that I never really thought about it that way, but ecology is a scientific term. And of course, Kate is an ecologist, and that's, you know, what she does. But as a board, we're not a scientific body. So I do think that kind of, I don't know if mischaracterizes this, but it might not be the best word to use in the title for that reason, that it's a scientific board. And I don't know any board out there in this municipality or anywhere that I've seen that calls themselves an ecology board, at least not. I mean, I've been doing this for a while, and I haven't seen that that's something that's a normal thing. I mean, maybe you guys have, I don't know, but I if you look nowadays, you'll see sustainability and resiliency. Those are the ones that you're going to see, especially in Miami. That's what you're going to see in Miami for sure.
ecosystem.
I think you make a good case. I mean, I hate to give up the name just because that's what I do and I like ecology, but what we do on this board has really nothing to do with ecology. So I think being consistent with what everybody else is doing, not that I like to join in the bandwagon, but I mean, that's what everybody else is. So if we have some other name and we apply for a grant, they're gonna go, what do you do as in the ecology board? So
That's
I
the
think we
main
need to
thought.
be consistent with everybody else. If, you know, everybody feels strong about keeping the name ecology, I agree with what you proposed, Alex, of environmental sustainability and resilience, but, or just cutting it to the 2 words instead of 3.
Yeah.
Just to be consistent. I mean, I agree. Like I see Danielle's point, but
Yeah.
just to be consistent with what everybody else is doing. So there's no confusion on what our board is doing. And I mean, if we were strong science and we were just going out and focusing on the habitats that we have here, these urban habitats, then I
Yeah.
would say, yeah, let's do that. But that's not really what we're focusing on this board in particular. I mean, that's just my personal feeling. Everybody can take a vote, but I mean, I
Yeah.
see your point and a little bit hesitant as well, but really what are we trying to accomplish here? Because I mean, I wish, me personally, I would like to just be looking at the trees in the park and looking at the green spaces, but you know, we do have a park and rec board that's already doing most of that. And I think what we're focusing on here. But I mean, we can vote on it. That's
I was looking in Google. I found this Florida Department of Environmental Protection. It means resilience.
yeah, the Florida Department of Environmental Protection is the state agency that regulates the environment on behalf of the state.
If we Board of Environmental Protection and Sustainability over everything.
So the village of
Resilience is here.
yeah, village of El Portal, Miami Shores, Ball Harbor Islands, they all have that resilience and sustainability and resilience.
Let's put resilience.
Miami-Dade County, Durham has a board,
Doesn't-
Environmental Quality Control Board, which is a board full of scientists and
Yeah.
professors and engineers that actually would put forth a case to see if it's consistent with the code and actually impacting the environment. But
Yeah.
sorry, that's not what we're doing here on this board.
No, it's not. I mean, I think we touch on it in an extent, and we look at your expertise in that realm when we do have those kind of discussions. But as a board, obviously, we're not doing that. So the only thing I will bring it up for a vote. The only thing that I do need to find out is, and maybe we can just kind of put it in there too, if we want to change anything in the charter for the board in terms of what it says, because let me pull it up just so we can know what the current charter says. think it's in Unicode. Oh, here it is. Yeah, it's in the website. So it's the duties and responsibilities to target environmental goals and recommend appropriate actions and plans to ensure stewardship strategies for the preservation and protection of the village. That's really general, which is a good thing.
Where is that you just read that?
If you Google here, I'll just email you guys the
So I want to
link. If you just Google Ecology Board Biscayne Park, it should come up. Or if you just go to the website and click on boards and committees and then click on Ecology Board, it's right there.
What is that? Is that our mission or what's this? What is
That's basically it's like the chart. Yeah, it's a mission.
the charter?
It's what's described in the code for what we're supposed to be doing.
Okay. Will you read it one more time? I'm sorry.
Yeah. The good thing about it is that it's very, very general. I don't know that we would necessarily need to change anything, but if anybody sees anything there that you think we should change, I'm definitely open to it. William, were you able to find that as well?
Not, were you able to send out the email?
No, I'll send it right now. I'll send it to you right now.
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, it doesn't really. It's very broad.
It is really, really broad. Which I guess in our case is a good thing because it gives us flexibility.
Yeah, it does say environment a few times. Natural resources.
Yeah. Preservation. Well, unless anybody thinks that anything on there should change, or for me, I would just leave it as it is unless there's something glaring there that we want to add.
They mention environmental more times.
Yeah. But we have it in there. I mean, this is kind of like a one-time thing. So if there is something we want to add in there, this would be the time to do it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we should think about language, about adding a statement about sustainability and resilience. I don't know.
Just in the first point, the preservation and protection of the village. I think every board has that.
Yeah.
You could probably say that's in their bylaws or,
Yeah.
you know. Preservation of public art. Maybe those are the two terms that are interchangeable or swappable.
Yeah. Actually, I like that.
One
Yeah.
You know, without
It does. Yeah.
one question: all the board are a kind of advisory, or some of these board are power in decision? Because I look, we are ecology advisory, then there is public art advisory, but for zoning is a board, for code compliance is a board. So there is a difference in power too.
Those are quasi judicial boards. They actually have a different set of
So we,
power than we do.
we are anyway advisory.
Correct. Yeah, we're advisor. We don't make any decisions. P and Z and code does. Like decisions that are affecting directly actions that the city is making.
So we have to keep advisory.
I mean, I'm pretty sure we do, yeah. Because let's see the other one. Parkway Advisory.
How do we feel? Should we make a vote or?
I think let's take it up for a vote on the name, and then in terms of what Alex was saying on that first line, to target environmental goals and recommend appropriate actions and plans to ensure stewardship strategies for the sustainability and resilience of the village. Is that kind of what you have in mind?
Yeah, more or less.
I'm okay with that. Keeps the environmental part of it in there. It mentions the sustainability and resilience. I'm okay with that, and then leaving the rest as is. What do you all think?
So what is the title?
No, so the title that I want to bring up for the vote is Sustainability and Resilience Advisory Board. And then the actual description, the duties and responsibilities, if that's within the purview of what the lawyers are going to be doing, because this is like a one-time thing, to have them just change that to instead of preservation and protection of the village, which is just very general, like Alex was saying, to change that to sustainability and resilience of the village, which to me, it makes sense to do that, especially if it's in the title. I don't know if it's necessary, but I'm okay with it. I think it would make sense. So
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to type and make sure I get it right. Where was that? Can you,
so in the duties responsibilities,
okay,
the first line,
number one? Okay.
correct, in the first line. So ensure stewardship strategies for the sustainability and resilience of the village.
Hold on. Pasting it into here. I want to make sure I get it right for the record. So that
Sure.
Just did the same thing. See it. in front of me before.
Okay, so number one, to target environmental goals and recommend appropriate actions and plans to ensure stewardship strategies for the preservation and protection of the village. And then what were we going to add or change?
So instead of preservation and protection, we were going to put sustainability and resilience of the village, which actually lines up exactly with sustainability is about preservation and resilience is about protection. So it actually lines up really well.
Got it. Thank
It's a
you.
good call out. So, so can somebody, let's see, would somebody like to bring that up for a vote? So the vote is going to be to change the title of the board from Ecology Advisory Board to Sustainability and Resilience Advisory Board. And under the duties and responsibilities, to change the first line to target environmental goals and recommend appropriate actions and plans to ensure stewardship strategies for the sustainability and resilience of the village.
I second that.
Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
In favor.
In favor.
All right, so everybody's in favor. Kate, you're in favor?
Yes, I'm in favor.
Great. Well, thanks for being on board with me on that. I think it's going to be a good thing. Like I said, and like, Kate was mentioning, it's not just to go along with what everybody's doing. It's going to help us in terms of visibility and I think influence within not only the municipality, but when we meet, when we're talking to other boards, if any of us do end up talking to other boards every once in a while, I'm talking to other board, chairs and things like that. It's good to have some kind of uniformity. Great. Okay, so let's see.
So the next on the agenda was the PACE financing.
Yeah, that's another one that I put on the agenda that I don't know if everybody is familiar with PACE financing. Basically, what it is it's an option that's given to homeowners for financing of energy efficiency projects, and it's kind of been notorious for being rife for misleading homeowners on what it actually is. Basically, what PACE is it puts a tax lien on your property. And what you do is you take a loan through that gets paid through the tax rolls. So let's say you take a loan for $20,000 to install solar panels. There's an interest rate on that loan, which is generally with PACE financing quite high, about 8 or 9% the last time I was looking at it. And maybe it's even higher now. And the way that it's billed towards and the way that it's paid is through your tax bill. So when you get your tax statement, you know, you have the addendum on there that's like the Great Waste for trash pickup. There's another line on there that gets added for this second lien on your property, which is the energy efficiency upgrade to the property. So instead of paying $200 a month, you're paying $2,400 a year additionally on your tax rolls. It sounds good in theory, and you know, I'm all for giving people options. If somebody really wants to do that, that's totally up to them. But the problem is the way that contractors are presenting that to people is in many cases very misleading. A lot of even people here in Biscayne Park, I've heard talk about it, and other communities here in Miami, they end up having this huge increase in their tax bill, and it's not properly explained to them. And Biscayne Park is officially behind this program, and so is Miami-Dade, and so is the state of Florida. It's a program that exists in many places, but the municipality has to approve it in order for it to be able to work, because it goes through the municipality who adds this cost to the tax roll. So in Biscayne Park, we have to officially be on board with PACE financing. That was an ordinance that was actually passed that allows PACE financing to happen in our municipality. My personal opinion is that it shouldn't exist because it's just something that I've never heard any positive reviews about from anybody because of the way that it's presented, but I don't want to go as far as just eliminating it. But I do think that something that other municipalities have done is to create disclosure guidelines so that if you're a contractor in Biscayne Park and you're offering PACE financing, you have to disclose to the homeowner exactly what it is that you're going to be offering them. And so there's already something like this that exists in the city of Orlando. They just passed an ordinance like this, I think relatively recently. There's some other cities that have done it. So I don't know if anybody else is familiar with it. We don't have to take anything up to a vote this time, but if you want to just take a look for the next time, it's PACE, PACE, PACE financing. Just to do a little research on it, you'll hear a lot of horror stories out there. There was somebody here in Biscayne Park that was pretty severely affected by it because they were not properly explained the way that it works. So I do think that we have a responsibility to advise the commission on reconsidering whether or not they want to have this. And
can you make invent an example to make me understand?
Yeah.
What is just
Yeah. So let's say, let's say I wanted to get solar panels in my house. I just got these solar panels in my house. I have really bad credit, so I'm not eligible to get traditional financing. So here I have an option where I don't have to pay anything up front. You actually don't have to pay anything until the end of the year. And all they're going to do is add that amount of money split over, I think it's 20 years or something like that. So it's basically $1,000 plus whatever the interest is per year for the next 20 years. And the interest is actually very high. And theoretically, one of the things that they tell you is that it's tax deductible because property tax is tax deductible, but that's never actually been put to the test in the courts. And it's questionable as to whether or not that is a tax deductible element because it's an addendum to your tax roll. So if somebody ever has to go to court about it, that hasn't been brought to court yet, but there's kind of a gray area of whether or not that actually is even tax deductible. So if it isn't, you would actually be on the hook for more taxes. You wouldn't be able to deduct that from your property tax deduction. or to include that in your property tax deduction. So in my case, I would be paying, let's say, an extra $1,500 a year on my taxes, which, okay, maybe it's not that bad. It's split up over, the 12 months and you put the money aside and you can pay it. The problem is that it's a lien on my house. So if I ever want to sell my house, I have to pay off that loan before I can even consider doing it. And then a lot of banks won't even consider financing the house unless that lien is already paid.
It's not what has been present for my system solar. It's like I have a loan,
Yeah,
mosaic,
right,
40%.
right,
With the, I will give the tax return of this year.
Right.
Installation,
right,
and the contract I can pass the loan to the next owner
right.
or decide to pay before. And things.
Correct. You have options. Yeah, you have options.
I don't see something negative. I mean, I don't understand because even beside that, from my understanding with the tax accounting, if I change all my windows, I put the impact window, I spend $1,000. These are when I talk about what is my tax declaration, tax deduction, whatever I do for the energy efficiency can be returning tax more than the normal stuff. So is something existing already? I don't understand what is the trick to lose money, pay more taxes.
Well, the difference is that if you are not eligible to get a loan like that, usually if somebody just has bad credit and they're not able to get a loan, they're either only going to get a loan that has some crazy interest rate, but it's a traditional loan that goes against your credit report. This doesn't go on your credit report. It has nothing to do with your credit report. So people see that and they're like, wow, I can get a $20,000 loan. I don't have to pay anything up front. It doesn't go against my credit report. But what they don't realize, what it actually means is that that's a lien on your house. So they have a lien that supersedes other liens on your house that you have to pay that first before anything else if you ever want to sell your house.
Sell the house.
You cannot sell your house. And so with the lien that you have on your loan and that I have on mine, it's an equipment lien. It's different. They can come and they can take the solar panels off the house if they ever decided to do that, and you can pay it off early. There's a huge prepayment penalty on these too. So you can't just prepay it normally like you normally would. There's a big prepayment penalty too. So there's a lot of problematic elements to it. Again,
One question.
yeah.
Is this related to that Y green?
Yes. Y green is one of the PACE financing mechanisms. Yeah.
That clarifies a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of,
Like the same sort of.
it's one of the organizations, probably the biggest one that provides the PACE financing.
Right. That's the term. I know it's a separate entity. But
Yeah.
that's the term more or less.
Yeah.
I've seen the news
Yeah.
for all the reasons.
Yeah. PACE financing is the mechanism.
Right.
But companies that provide the financial backing, like Y Green, those are the companies that are using that mechanism. Now, Y Green, that's one thing. They have they disclose everything that is in there. The problem is contractors that are offering Y Green as an option don't really understand it, or they choose not to fully disclose what it actually means for the homeowner. So a homeowner can end up on the hook. There's nightmare stories out there about people having to pay $5,000-6,000 more a year on their property taxes, and they had no idea that was what was going to happen because it wasn't properly explained to them. And so there are municipalities that have disclosure requirements, kind of like truth in lending, like when you do a home loan, that you have to say, this is the interest rate, this is what it means, this is what a home loan is. Like, you have to do this with a traditional loan, but you don't have to do that with that type of financing.
So it's part and parcel like financial literacy.
Yeah.
in a big way.
Yeah, it is.
I'm
And
not against the program because not everyone, like you said, has the credit or the ability to
Exactly.
use it. Everyone should.
yeah, it's a well-intentioned program.
Should flatten this out for folks that who need new windows or a roof or solar panels or any of these
Yeah.
things that qualify for resilience,
Yeah,
but otherwise could not.
correct.
But yeah, it's Florida and a lot of folks are going to do this. We'll start next week.
Yeah, I almost did it. I almost did it myself. And then I started looking into it.
Looked at the Y green, I think, for financing windows.
Yeah, me too. That's what I was looking at it for. I almost did it. And then I was like, wait a minute, this is going to have a lien on my house and I can't pay it off early. And they didn't tell me any of this. And then when I went to ask the contractor about it, they were like really, slippery about it. And they were like, oh yeah, no, it's, and so they were not truthful about it, just straight up not truthful about it. So it's something that I think we need to,
As a board, advisory board, we should maybe make a small document or find something probably is already on the net.
yeah,
Like, and give to the Biscayne Park people an idea, a link. Please, before take some energy smart decision, be aware about these things, about this kind of financing. Because it's really attractive. Don't pay nothing.
yeah,
It's there.
it sounds great in theory.
So maybe beside to tell don't do it, maybe just increase the awareness of the people.
Yeah, I agree. But I do think that it goes beyond just posting something like on Nextdoor or something, which I have actually posted about this on Nextdoor. I think that there has to be some kind of requirement in place at the municipal level. Because Biscayne Park has our name behind it. Like Biscayne Park, they took a vote and they accepted that PACE financing could happen here because again, it gives people another option without knowing the implications of people just getting ripped off left and right by unscrupulous contractors, of which we know there are many in Florida. So I think that it would be more than just giving people the advice on what it actually is as individuals, because we can't do it as a board online, at least not yet until the website is,
It seems like the contract is always that this is education on both sides.
It is, but I think that in the cases that, at least in the cases that I've seen, in the cases that I personally experienced, is that the contractor, they either didn't know or they were failing to disclose what it actually is. I can't, say which one way or the other.
Something we can ask, because I think one in our meeting, we were discussing about the landscaping people need to advise if they use some deadly chemical and the things.
Mhm.
So maybe here we should really tell the contractor about energy efficiency improvement should really disclose about this type of thing. Same thing. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess when whatever this document is, sort of signed and outlined by both parties, and then it should live with the village somehow, or that.
Oh, yeah.
So that the future owner, whatever, they all know that this, that this.
Yeah.
You have all agreed, yes, you agreed to a rate and everything with that contractor for whatever the job is
Yeah.
that entails, but you both signed equally that you understand how this breaks down.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's a paper trail. Yeah, you signed a contract.
I mean, no, there's also a financing. There is an extent of a paper trail, but I do think that actually along the lines of what you're saying, something we could do that might be an easy thing, a quick thing to do, is to have just like an educational form, which I'm sure there are many out there, because I know this is not a unique problem, that we leave it over there in that stack of papers where people go for permits, and you just have PACE financing, frequently asked questions, or, I don't know if it's say beware, but just like put that a new folder there that's just PACE financing, because at some point somebody doing that has to walk in there, unless it's the contractor walking in there, and they're going to look at, people are going to be educated by that.
We talked a while ago about doing some sort of awareness fair or having contractors.
Yeah.
That are resiliency contractors. That would also be a forum, I think.
Yeah.
A workshop could be held.
Absolutely.
At least answer those questions, or hand out the table.
Yeah.
At the very least.
Totally.
I think if you apply this to a kind of package of document when you go
Mhm.
for the permit,
Yeah.
powerful, also a simple title like "Too Good to Be True." Like,
Yeah, I mean, I think you open yourself up to legal jeopardy if you start saying things like that are sort of negative about some. I don't know. I think you have to be careful about the way you do it, but it's something that gets people's attention so that they know, read about it and know what PACE financing actually is. And it might actually go away, because Miami-Dade, there was a commissioner that was actually bringing it up for a vote for it to go away altogether in Miami-Dade. I don't know if that's the right solution. I would rather people to be educated, but
common type of financing, pro and cons on that.
yeah, I'll take a look at what other municipalities are doing. I'm in touch with the head of the sustainability and resilience I don't know what they're called, the task force or whatever the case may be in Orlando. That's a job. That's like a full-time job that he has in Orlando. And I was talking to him about this, and they have something in their actual laws that people have to disclose, the contractors have to disclose.
Also, because I think when we go for energy efficiency or this kind of improvement, you always go from 30, 40 up to 100. And not everybody has the possibility, me for sure not,
Yeah.
to put my out of my pocket.
Yeah.
Right. So
Significant.
you will always look for financing.
Yeah.
If somebody can help to avoid the sneaky one, yeah, it's a good thing.
So I have a couple of questions.
Yes.
When did the board approve this? Do you know?
Let's see if I can find it. It was quite a while ago.
And then I guess my other question is how does the village how can they regulate it? Or what is their compliance?
Well, what you can do is require any of the companies that are providing this type of financing to have you can basically have disclosure requirements either through the contractor or through the financing company. It would probably have to be through the contractor, and the contractor has to disclose certain things that whatever the commission wants them to disclose, the contractor going to offer this kind of financing, because it's up to us if we want that kind of financing to be allowed here. And because we made that decision that it was going to be allowed here, we should at least, have some kind of a set of rules around it that.
How can they regulate that though?
I don't know how it's done. I'll do a little research on it. I don't know how it's done, but I do know that other municipalities in Florida are doing it. And they do, let's see. I think I found it here. It looks like 2020. And they do require specific disclosures. I know that was something else. I'll look into that. I'll see what other municipalities are doing.
Okay.
There's definitely something that can be done, but it's a good question to see what's the best.
Through the permitting process or something like that?
Could be permitting. It could be, I don't know how, because the thing is, this has to go through the village in terms of the tax roll. So at some point, the village gets involved because they have to add this through the Miami-Dade property appraiser.
Oh, okay.
So it's like
I guess that's what I'm confused on, how it's regulated and how everybody's involved so that.
Yeah,
know
yeah. And
how we
I'm
can-
not 100% sure, so I'll do a little more research on exactly how that works. And then I'll bring some.
Because without a way to facilitate it or for them to, require compliance or regulate, I don't, anybody you can require something, but if there's no tool, then it probably won't happen.
Yeah, no, absolutely
why I'm
agree.
curious.
Yeah, whatever we advise, it should be something that's meaningful and actually enforceable. I agree with that. Yeah, I'll bring some of that next time. So we're getting kind of close to an hour here. I was going to bring up 2023 budget. It's not as pressing, but we do want to start thinking about it. So I think that maybe if everybody for the next time can just think about the fact that the village is going to be starting the process of budgeting for next year. And we were talking about, Daniela was talking about having the village install solar panels. This is the exact moment that we need to have them put that into the budget. And so if we can come up with some kind of budgetary number to do that, so that we can at least start that discussion within the village, cost benefit analysis, things like that, that I know you already worked on. That's just an example. Some of the things that I was talking about was permitting and waiving fees entirely for things like solar panels and let's say electric vehicle chargers, anything that's related to sort of energy efficiency, because that has a budgetary impact, and putting that in the budget, let's say either permanently or for a period of 1 year, and then trying to renew it. But has budgetary impacts too. So there's other things that I wanted to talk about, but it's probably going to go for a while. So I'd rather maybe if everybody has some ideas for next time, we can discuss a little more.
Yeah, the solar panels, we could definitely, I think we could spend a good
Yeah.
We spent a whole meeting probably on that. I have questions as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Homeowner as well as a.
Yeah, I mean, we can come up with all the ideas that we want and then just kind of like narrow them down. Some of them are going to be like big things. Other ones will probably be smaller ones, but I think it's our opportunity. We will have been here for a year, and it's our opportunity to actually ask for something big and give reasoning behind it. And imagine how amazing that would be for you to be driving in through 6th Avenue and see solar panels on the village. I mean, it would have a lot of weight. I'm not saying that's the only thing we have to propose. I'm just using that as an example. But this is our chance to ask for things like that, and we should take that opportunity.
Right, and I think we can discuss all the obvious benefits or selling points for that building and what is inside that building.
Yeah.
Be as sustainable as possible in the event of an emergency.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Batteries on the side of that.
Yep. 100%.
Reason you did it for your house. So
100%. Yeah. Well, I didn't do batteries.
Yeah, but
I didn't do batteries.
Big thing is for the public building, you have no the tax return. So the investment is, if there is not any kind of Florida funds and things, spend everything. So when you go as private owner, still today you are 26% back. It's not happening. So when you go 100,000 or more, is big money.
Yeah, but we have the money. They can find the money. I mean, but that's how it has to happen. It has to be in the budget. We can't ask them to do something in a year that it's not in the budget. But if we can talk to them about it and convince them to put it in the budget.
Public building can also apply for a financing, or they have to pay.
You can get loans. Well, you can get loans. You can get municipal loans, and you can get municipal bonds. I mean,
they can put it up for a bond.
yeah,
Any other municipality.
yeah, you can do that.
Major project, then they can put on it for bond.
Yeah, we'd have to see what the budget, what the budget is. I mean, it's probably going to be $100,000 maybe if we do both buildings, or 50,000 for one, whatever it is. But we can talk about that. But so let's maybe just start thinking about that, building the case for that, and whatever ideas anybody else has. I'm sure, Kate, you have ideas in terms of, from the resilience standpoint, flood mitigation, or landscape ordinances, things like that might have some budgetary implications, or even just tree planting and things like that, even though that's not necessarily our direct purview, I think we can have a voice when it comes to that. So maybe we can discuss that next time on the next agenda.
Flood mitigation.
Yeah. Yeah. Drainage. I mean, there's a lot, and there's a lot out there, and there are going to be insane amounts of grants available out there. And which is why it's key that we're going to change our name, because these grants are going to be coming through the Resilient Florida Grant Program. So it's, this money can be found not just from tax rolls. Like this is grant money that's out there, and we have to get it, but we need to put it in our budget in order to get the grants, because the grants are given after we already pay for it. We don't get the money up front. So it has to be in the budget. So let's discuss that a little bit more next time. Does anybody else have anything? I know there was some old business there. I don't have it in front of me.
As budget, because I don't know what is the really coverage of Biscayne Park, but when you think about bike lane, is only for the FDOT department, or Biscayne Park can have an influence, like in the 6th Avenue, to have the continuity from Miami Shore to Miami North, to have a dedicated bike lane, not sharing the things. Something Biscayne Park can influence on that, or is FDOT only?
Oh, we have an influence on it, but there was a big project that the FDOT was actually about to do on 6th Avenue, and we basically eliminated it as a village, because what they were doing was not what we wanted. So they're still open to doing something with us, and that's something that we could have an input on. It's definitely there. FDOT wants to do something there, and they're either going to do it by force. They don't like to do that. They want the village to be on board, but they also can just do whatever they want. As you see with the lighting, they put those lights that are, as bright as the sun. So it's a good point. That's something that we can definitely consider, but that's outside of our budget. That has nothing to do with us. That's basically FDOT. They have their fund. I mean, Biscayne Park, when they were doing that project, the only budget element of it was that we were going to have to pay like $400,000 for the lighting that we wanted, or something like that.
something that's more and less environmentally
Yeah.
damp, I guess, for lack of better.
Yeah, it's dark sky compliant and all this kind of thing. But so yeah, that's a good. But yeah, I mean that's one of the things we can definitely talk about. But maybe everybody just brings a list of ideas and we can just discuss that. I think that's going to be the whole meeting. Basically, we'll have to dedicate the entire meeting to it because there's a lot of ideas out there. But other than
Sort of
that,
like our agenda for the next year.
say again.
So it sounds like sort of with proposing these budgetary changes, we're a little bit sort of outlining our agenda for the next year, you know, in terms of things we want to get done. Yeah, I agree. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I wasn't able to make it to the Lights Out event.
Mhm.
Were you able to go and
Yeah,
speak? Yeah,
was
we
great.
were
was great.
unfortunately traveling with the kids for a soccer event. So
It was a really good event. It was really nice. I got a chance to talk way longer than I should have. But I actually, interestingly, I talked a little bit about solar, and I had a resident come up to me after, and because of that, she's probably going to be installing solar in her house. So we really have to get these opportunities to be kind of out there and talking about this, because once you just can present residents with the benefits of things like that, whether it's native landscaping or whether it's solar, or whether it's energy efficiency, anything like that, it's great to have those kind of opportunities. And there's Earth Day event this.
yeah, I was just gonna bring that up.
Yeah, go ahead. You probably know more. I just happened to see it, but
No, I just happened to see it either. I mean, nobody reached out to me, and I was gonna ask if anybody was reached out to by, it looks like
no.
the Park Foundation is putting on an Earth Day celebration on the 24th at the
Yeah.
rec center between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. So I didn't know if anybody had reached out to us. I
No.
didn't even know about it, to tell you the truth.
No, they hadn't, but I'm glad that they're doing it. I mean, it's a good thing. They're going to be doing something interesting, which is recycling of batteries and old electronics and things like that. So if anybody has a chance to go, it's going to be good. Let's see.
And then I guess my other question was, I wasn't able to attend the last commission meeting. I don't know if anybody else was able to attend and represent on behalf of our board.
Yeah, I was there. I gave the
There.
board basically what I do is I try to make the meetings and I give a summary of the board report is basically just what we talked about at this meeting. So the next
Right.
meeting, if any of y'all have the opportunity to go, I highly recommend it. It's not that many people and it's a chance to have a direct conversation with commissioners.
I couldn't make it last time. There's so many childcare issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's
My issue.
understandable.
But I would really like to try to make the next one. I've heard that they're going to be talking a good deal about underground infrastructure issues,
Oh yeah,
drainage, flooding.
Yeah.
Be present for that. That does touch upon a lot of things to deal with as well.
yeah, especially you personally.
Yeah. So I didn't even get to see what happened in the last meeting. Did they talk about the right of ways and swales at all? But
I believe they did, but the meeting went really long, and I had to leave before they talked about that.
okay.
But I did give our comments.
Okay, I
submitted
appreciate
our
that.
comments, and I reiterated those comments in the opportunity to give the board updates, which is basically what we said, which is that we just voted for the most sustainable option. There really wasn't that much more, and I told them that we were unclear on the 40% coverage, if it included the driveway or not. But we just basically voted on if they're going to do something, that it's the most sustainable option presented.
Sorry, I didn't catch the cleaning of the drainage in order to avoid the flooding is again FDOT, or can be Biscayne Park making some budget to have like every 3 months a deep cleaning, something like that?
That's Biscayne Park, unless it's 6th Avenue. The only thing FDOT is in charge of is 6th Avenue and Griffin.
Mm.
But everything else is Biscayne Park. So if we wanted to create, as you said, bike lanes or things like that in the park, we do all that. So that's, and the drainage cleaning, that's all Biscayne Park.
Right, and I think they have, as sort of result of the flooding that happened a few years ago, they now have a contract for a certain number of regular of storm drains.
Yeah.
And then a sort of, first right of refusal in an emergency. rain events happen, they don't just affect this municipality, it could affect other places. There's only so many of those pump trucks, those vac trucks available that can come out and do that.
Yeah.
That's what I understand. But yes, it's up to the village. To do that. But yeah, then they're putting out, again, we can get into it later, but I know they're putting it out to bid about doing the actual work. That might.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. What else did we talk about? Oh, there was the House bill, the solar energy net metering bill, which
Talk more about that.
yeah, well, the governor had. If you haven't written the letter to the governor, please do. He hasn't signed it yet. I think there's a chance that he could veto it. I really have high hopes that he does. It speaks his language. It's going to kill a bunch of jobs, and so I really hope that he does veto it. It doesn't bring anything. It doesn't do anything good for anybody other than FPL, other than increase their profits. It doesn't do anything good for anybody. So if you don't know what it is, it's basically a bill that eliminates net metering, which is what homeowners get paid for feeding energy back into the grid from their solar panels. And it's what gives you a quicker payback when you buy solar panels. If they eliminate that, then it's going to disproportionately affect underserved communities and people of lesser means that right now it's already hard enough for them to put solar, but they can try to justify with net metering. But if you take that away, FPL tried to frame it as a bunch of rich people that have solar on their house, which is of course preposterous. It's a very transparent attempt to increase their profits, nothing more. But if it happens, it's going to really eliminate the industry.
They're not in the habit of paying their customers.
No, that's the thing. It's really simple. If it really were, they're saying that customers are paying, that people who don't have solar are paying for customers that do have solar. And by their own calculations, it comes down to something like $5 a year per customer. And in addition to that, the question is, okay, if you take away net metering, does that mean that anybody's bill is going to go down? Of course not. So it's just pure money grab. So anybody who hasn't done so yet, please write a letter to DeSantis's office and, expressing your opposition to House Bill 1159. And I see that in the old business, there's the proposed landscape ordinance. I don't know if Kate was looking into that, or that's something that I don't remember what.
It was just on there because we had talked about it, but you had said something, I think it was Parks, one of the other boards you thought had already discussed with the manager about doing a landscape ordinance in our code. And so you had recommended that I follow up with Mario.
Oh, with Mario, that's right. Yeah. Because
I
there
haven't
was.
had a chance in the last month. I apologize, but
Yeah, no,
I'm gonna
whenever you get
follow
a
up with
chance, it'd
him to
be,
see
yeah.
if one of the other boards are already working on that.
Yeah, I don't know if that is necessarily another board. I just know that they had the meeting specifically around that, and especially like the tree ordinance, which we talked about at length. But I do know that P&Z looked at it, planning and zoning looked at. It was discussed, but they pretty much said that that's not in their purview to create any kind of ordinance like that. So it maybe when you touch base with them, just to find out what the status of it is, and if there's any input to be given from us, what kind of input can we give?
Right.
So-
I think I wanted to I'll follow up with Mario again. I have a hard time getting hold of him, and you told me you just need to go into his office, which is just near impossible during business hours for me to get there. But I was also thinking I wanted to go to that last board meeting and just kind of talk about it and bring it up to the commission, which again, something came up and I wasn't able to. So I'm going to try hard to get to the next meeting to at least bring it up to them.
Yeah.
Because I know I had already talked to them during that workshop about it. So I'm going to talk
think-
about it with Mario again and then bring it up again.
I think Commissioner Kennedy was the one that was working on that originally, the one that kind of brought it up. So it might be useful to touch base with him,
Okay.
because he might have insight on it as well. But I know that either him or Mario or both of them would be good to talk to.
Okay.
I remember we were talking about a small park close to the rail.
Mhm.
Maybe it's some budget about rehabilitation of that park or.
Yeah, I think they did it. I think they did it already. Yeah, the pocket park over there. Yeah, I think they did. I mean, I've been over there with my son several times. It looks like they put down mulch and they kind of cleaned it up a little bit. And that was like a scout project. So from what I understood, I think they did it. They have some labels on the trees and things like that. I don't know to what extent they were going to do, but it's nice. It's nice. It has a little bench there. It's actually a nice little pocket park. So the next meeting, let's see.
The butterfly park you guys were talking about?
No, not the butterfly park. It's a park that's on
Butting
oh,
the
that-
railroad, right, on the east part of the neighborhood.
is it 12th? Yeah, right by the railroad. Exactly.
And
Whatever's the one right
Other
next to the
place?
railroad. No, it's the one that's the closest to the railroad, like the last street that's next to the
Yeah.
railroad.
yeah, that's the butterfly park.
I think
the
the
w-
butterfly park is near sort of the log cabin, right? Are those
Yeah, the butterfly park is this one here. This one over here on the median.
No, the butterfly park is the one that's over by the railroad tracks. That little.
Oh, I never knew that was a butterfly park.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's,
maybe-
that was
oh,
supposed to
nice.
be the butterfly park.
Oh, okay.
Historically, that's what it was called. It was like a scouts project or something.
Yeah, that
I
one.
didn't know that they did that. I didn't even see any news about them doing that.
Yeah, there
That's
was something that one of the Girl Scouts came to the commission meeting about like
Yeah.
6 months ago or so, and
I remember it was at that meeting. I didn't even know that they did it though.
I think they did because I've been going there since, and it seems like they put new mulch and it seemed kind of cleaned up. So I don't know what the plan was, but it seems like it's cleaned up, and you can go there, sit on the bench, and I go there with my son all the time. I don't know if there was a bigger plan than just cleaning it up. I'm not really
I don't
sure.
know. We were talking about trying to get more plants in there. Before it was, it was way more vegetated, like with smaller plants and signs, and now it's just kind of overgrown and shaded out the butterfly plant. So
That's why I was surprised because I never saw any plants. in
yeah, I
there.
mean, there used to be a lot of butterfly plants there, but now all of
Oh,
the other
okay.
trees have, gotten huge and overgrown. And
Yeah.
during Irma, a lot of the other plants got hit really hard and never came back.
Okay.
A lot of invasives in there now too. So, but it used to be a butterfly park, not really
Okay.
so much anymore.
Okay. Did not know that. So the next meeting is going to be on Tuesday, June 21st at 7 p.m. Let me make sure that's a Tuesday. I know there's one day that, yeah, it's Tuesday, June
We don't
21st.
have a May meeting.
Sorry, I'm like fast forwarding. May 17th. Sorry about that. Yeah, so May 17th is the next meeting. Yeah, third Tuesday in May at 7 p.m. here in the log cabin.
Okay.
So hopefully everybody can make that. And
Yep.
does anybody have anything else?
Yeah, nothing else, but just since we're not going to meet till after, it's hard to sort of share things because we can't email each other. But there's like a climate and health symposium May 6th that Miami's doing. Like the Jane Gilbert, the heat officer, and the mayor is going to be like, I don't know if anybody's free. I can send a link out to maybe to Shantae and she can send it out if anybody's interested. And also in The Economist, like last week, there was a pretty good special report on Florida with a few articles on like Florida's like environment, water, climate sort of threats in case anybody is interested.
Yeah, could you send both of those to Shantae so she can distribute that to us?
Yeah, definitely.
That'd be great. Yeah, that symposium is well. There's that, and I think there's a pretty big one in Miami Beach. It's called like the Aspen Ideas Forum or something like that. Which,
Oh, nice. I hadn't heard, but maybe if you find it, maybe send it out also.
yeah, I'll look into that. I think it's in the beginning of May, but I'll double check. But yeah, the what's the name of the guy who's in charge of the Environmental Protection Agency? Miss Regan. I forget his first name. He's the head of the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. He's going to be there actually, so that's going to be a pretty big one too. So, all right, everybody good? So let's go ahead and let's see. 1 second. All in favor of adjourning the meeting?
Aye.
In favor?
Favor.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Night.
Thanks, William.